that industry and that field today. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen, what's going to go on with um, the Olympics, because you got to remember this year at the Olympics, it's going to be this year in 2021, so that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I'm just wondering how they're going to, are they just going to keep the same athletes that qualified up to that point, or it's just going to be interesting to see. I really wish that the big changes that came about on this side of the fence in the United States with USA Taekwondo and some other things had happened a little sooner, but I'm glad to see that they happened. It was good, and it's good to be vindicated, because it's one of those situations where you look at it and you hate to go, I told you so, I told you so, but that's what happened. I mean, not to get too deep in the weeds with it, but I'm just going to tell you, man, it amazed me sometimes, some of the things that, were allowed to go on and that went on. But out of that arose a new, what do you say it? I want to say a new era. And, that's not, what I'm saying, a bad thing, it, just, I wished that it had come a little sooner. I wish it had come a little sooner. And when you stop and think about all the things that are happening, that have happened, you have to be thankful that change came, and that, different things, change for the better, in my opinion. I believe that things change for the better. I believe that it took a while and it took some doing, but I'm glad to see it. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. This is USA Taekwondo's website. And basically, let's go back. Basically, the part that I found interesting was one, this Dan office. Now, the USA Taekwondo Dan certification program. I said several years ago that Kukiwan and the Kukiwan certification was the requirements to compete in the Olympic Games. No one listened to me. Everybody thought I was crazy. The pushback was ridiculous. And now even USA Taekwondo themselves recognize Kukiwan. Also recognize the Kukiwan promotion and how they do their testing. This was not here. They didn't make this open admission coming into the Rio Olympics. So to see this now coming into Tokyo is awesome. And I'm glad to see it. I'm glad that they're finally coming full circle and admitting this. I'm glad that they're moving in this direction, because it's going to help. Because when you talk about why didn't certain athletes do this, why didn't certain athletes do that, you have to go back and realize something. If the rest of the world are following the rules and they're Kukiwan certified, and your guys are some fly-by-night whoever here in the States, it's a different training regimen, It's a different requirement. It's a different standard. So I'm glad to see this on this site. The next thing I want to touch on, let me see if it's in membership or the global. Let me see if I can find it here. Bear with me. Let's see. National teams, national team roster, team action. No, let me see. Resources, code of ethics, bylaws. Yeah. I mean, that whole deal right there, you'd be surprised how much it took to make it happen. I mean, Safe Sport was it for a while, but this was a long time coming. As far as all those different branches branches of the tree that you could verify. It wasn't always like that. I'm trying to see here. Dan office, anti-drug policy. Okay, let's see if they moved it to oh, here it is, global license. Now, everyone brace yourself for this one. Global licenses need to apply for a World Taekwondo global license, a World Taekwondo Federation global license. And look at this. First line, World Taekwondo has mandated that participants, athletes, coaches, and officials acquire World Taekwondo membership, formally named World Taekwondo Global License, that is valid through, and this is a little old, but 2019. Now, let me tell you something interesting that was funny about just having that line on this website at all. When I started back competing, I had joined USA Taekwondo, full member USA Taekwondo, Kukkiwan certified black belt, and had my global license. When I tried to tell everyone, I said, hey, you know, if you want the point system to count, you have to, excuse me, put it down. You have to be a member of World Taekwondo. And one of the requirements to be a member of World Taekwondo is to, one, be a Kukkiwan black belt, and two, make sure you have your global license. Nobody listened. The pushback was ridiculous. They kicked and screamed and whined and turned all kind of cartwheels and all this stuff like that. But they never told us about one thing that was going on. After the London Olympics, World Taekwondo said, listen, we're not grandfathering anybody else in. From 2010 forward, make sure all you guys test and are Kukkiwan qualified. That's what they did. This was 2010. Now remember, this is before the London Olympics. They made that mandatory in 2010. They said, we're not grandfathering one in. Okay. My experience with, at that point, the leadership in USA Taekwondo was they were going to deny that was the situation. They were going to pick favorites. They're going to push athletes and this and that other. And what they forgot was, with the style of Taekwondo that's in the Olympics, it's knockout style. You know, you don't train properly, you could get knocked out. Or, and I won't say his name because I don't want to give him any props, get to the Olympics and you stand up there talking about you were a 5th or 6th degree black belt and get owned in the first round. Don't even make out the first round by a guy that's just a black belt. They're not even a 1st degree black belt. They made black belt and they beat you. You lost to someone, you're supposed to be a 6th-degree black belt on international live stream media because NBC covered it, and get handed a loss, and you're supposed to be a 5th-degree black belt. But that person was the chosen one. How well did that work out? I didn't get upset because I was fortunate enough to be a part of the training team for the Rio Testament. I had some issues with that in and of itself, but I was glad to have been a part of that, and I would take that experience with me wherever, because it's one of those things, you look at achievements, especially at my age, to be able to do something like that, to me was something special. Follow that up with the national championship win, and so I got to go out on top. Got a chance to be a part of an Olympic training team, got a chance to be a national champion again, and it was awesome. And I'm saying all this to say I'm glad to see the progress. I'm glad to see the changes that were made. In my opinion, changes for the better to help athletes better compete on the global stage, on the international stage. I hope that when we get some sense of, I want to say, normalcy with the COVID deal, that more U.S. athletes will get the opportunity to compete internationally, and not just in Canada or in the Caribbean. Not knocking Canada. You know, that trip to Montreal is awesome. Costa Rica, Jamaica when they have it, Bahamas when they have it, anywhere in the Caribbean is awesome. Mexico is always good, but I'm kind of partial to Oceania. I remember one of the first international champions ever won. I won in Australia, so hey, I'm with it. I want to see more athletes succeed on that global, or in that global arena.